You're right, Lauren, and certainly congratulations to Clark Schmidt yesterday with a very strong outing in support of Gerrit Cole. I think, Lauren, and Aaron Boone has said this, that Cole is not quite as far away from being himself as the numbers would indicate.
Okay.
And I think you could look at the strikeout numbers to affirm that. He is still striking out more than one batter per inning. That's the good news. The bad news is the walk total is really high, and certainly yesterday he was not efficient at all with all of those walks. In Gerrit's defense, and in defense of my beautiful home state, temperatures were in the low 40s yesterday in Detroit. It was not an optimal day to pitch. We saw that even as well on the opposite side with Tyler Alexander's start. So certainly Cole, it's not vintage form right now. We know that. Weather, I think, has been a factor for him early on. I really would say if I'm the Yankees, I would wait, as much as certainly New York fans don't want to hear this. I'd probably wait another couple of weeks before I really sound the alarm on this. He has shown still some moments where it's been more like himself from years past. Again, I would say another couple weeks of pitching before you really sound that alarm. On the bright side, Nestor Cortez has been outstanding. Again, his command has been pinpoint. 16 strikeouts, Lauren, for Cortez so far against just one walk.
Oh, wow. Incredible. And Aaron Boone has weapons for days out of that bullpen. They have been great. We did our name-dropping segment. I know you watch this show, JP. And the other day, D-Rose said Jesus Sanchez. And I spoke with his skipper in spring training. He said his ceiling's high. What do you like about him?
Really high, and what an impactful start to the season for Sanchez, playing center field for the Miami Marlins. I really want to give him some attention here because that was a huge trade they made to get him a couple of years ago, and now he is leading off basically every day, playing a very good center field. That was the question for Sanchez. Was he going to be a corner outfielder, or could he play center field? Look at these numbers so far. Again, it's a limited look, but when your OPS is above 1,000 and you're still a young player playing every single day and playing center field, batting leadoff, you're going to get the attention. So I think the Marlins, you look at their revamped lineup, of course, they bring in Soler. I really like what Sanchez has been able to do. You see it there, a very powerful swing from the left side. So Miami, I want to make sure in a very crowded division, we talked about all the different contending clubs there. His dynamic ability, I think, has a chance to become a cornerstone for this franchise now for years and years to come. So great news there for Sanchez to bat leadoff. And I think a lot of questions in spring training. Could he handle a position defensively? He is answering all of them with a resounding yes so far this season.
You should see D-Row to my right. He's going, called it. Called it. He's all knowing.
Thanks, D-Row. My pleasure, my friend.
You can agree.
Yeah, you were on it, D-Row. You called it. You called it. Well done. Now, of course, D-Row, you would say this. You are a little bit concerned if your predictions align with my predictions. But hopefully for Jesus' case, we're on the same wavelength here, my friend.
All right, JP.
Credit
the toughest thing we do, right? The prediction segment.
They're always wrong,
Yeah.
especially JP's. Love you just the same, okay? High of last night's win in Los Angeles, but more encouragement on the way in the form of Ronald Acuna Jr. We saw him in the rehab start, double off the wall. What'd you see, and what's the timetable for him?
Lauren, good morning. Very exciting news for the Braves to see Acuna back and playing in an organized game against the other team's competition for the first time since last July. So 1 for 3 with the double. The extra base power clearly is still there for Acuna. Lauren, the Braves believe he could be back potentially within the next 2 to 3 weeks to the Major League roster and the Major League lineup. And here is where having the DH is a luxury for the Braves, because they could bring Acuna back potentially exclusively as a DH, or mix in some DH days to make sure that ACL has plenty of time to get fully comfortable at the Major League level. So again, last night full of great news for the Braves. Fried was perfect for 5+,
yes,
and then of course Acuna back on the field. So lots of good news right now for the Atlanta Braves.
An infusion of energy coming soon. Same can be said for the Padres. Mike Clevenger working his way back. We know about the big surgery, but is the knee still bothering him? What do you know, JP?
Well, Lauren, a great question. Last night he was able to get to 3 innings in his minor league rehab start. Very good news for the Padres because, as you point out, it's Tommy John surgery plus an issue with his knee that he dealt with during the course of spring training. But as you see there, Clevenger back on the mound, comfortable. He could be back again within the next 2 to 3 weeks for the San Diego Padres. He'll probably make his return before Blake Snell comes back with that adductor issue that we talked about on the show last week. So overall, Lauren, I think the Padres have had a better start than maybe they're getting credit for right now. You see what Minaya has done. Musgrove, another outstanding start for him. Mackenzie Gore's now in the rotation. Nick Martinez has been pretty good for them as well. The Padres, I believe, once you add Clevenger back into this mix, they're going to have a really, really good rotation. I think one of the very best right now in the National League.
And that's a great list you listed off. Need all the arms they can get. That's true for every team. Gerrit Cole, we saw him, not himself. My question is, do you keep him in to kind of work through those struggles? Bullpen's been great, but if they're going to go where they want to, they need him. Stay in Colorado. He's born and raised there. And Bud Black said something interesting. You talk about not being able to breathe there. He said he grew up here.
Yeah.
He knows it. It doesn't bother him. What do you think of this?
I think it's great for Kyle Freeland. I think it's great for the Rockies. And we're starting to see the semblance of a core. Okay?
They've locked up their
They're
top
buying in.
starters.
Herman Marquez, Senzatella, Freeland, all guys that have come up through the organization, pitched there, seem to have had success in Coors Field at one time or another. I mean, we were talking about Freeland 3 years ago, 4 years ago. He's battling for a Cy Young award. You know Chris Bryant's going to be there. McMahon. You're starting to see the semblance. Now, whether or not you think that's the core that can help them win a World Series, at least you're starting to see, like, I don't think you're going to get the, unless you completely overpay like they used to, the Zach Wheelers, the big-time free agent starter that's going to go here. So we're cutting you off at the knees right here with a bunch of guys making
Mike Hampton left him the
$60 million range.
This is what they've been trying to do to eventually get a core of now 3 really good pitchers. I like these guys. I was able to talk to Kyle Freeland when we did a 30-30 in spring. And you know, he basically admitted, you mentioned, Lauren, about that the first year that he had in 17. Fantastic, 17-7 with a 2+ ERA. And then he kind of got to a space where he kind of semi-admitted that I thought I figured it out. You never figure it out. Until the end of your career, you're always working, right? Then he had the groin injury, got sent down. So the fact that they have built, I believe this, and I think Buddy Black is fantastic, ex-pitcher himself, to deal with the mindset of a place like Colorado.
Yeah.
But we're watching now. I don't know whether it's the humidor or not, but the numbers, metric-wise, across all the stadiums.
Their bullpen this year has been really, really good as well.
What?
Are we buying the Rockies?
Do your colors not run?
Well, the Rockies got another win.
Buying the Rocks.
The Rockies got another win last night against the Philadelphia Phillies, so that means that the Phillies have now lost 7 of their last 8. D-Rose, starting with you. What's going on in Philly? What's the problem?
They're searching for some offense. He's run out a bunch of different lineups.
Yeah, he had JT Realmuto at one time leading off. Kyle
Segura
Schwarber
last night. He tried Schwarber coming out of the gates. I think they're searching offensively right now to find an identity. The names on the back of the jersey are too good. It's gonna settle itself down.
Yeah, the problem is, Al, obviously that division, it is so competitive. You really can't afford streaks like this very often.
No, and I think what you mentioned about the names, there's guys that have been great. Zach Wheeler's clearly not in it yet, right? His ERA, what's it, 7 almost around there. Nola, I mean, you're talking about guys that you have to rely on considerably.
Yeah.
To, as you just said, Roflo. And they name guys in the pen as well by bringing in, guys that have been there for years, have been closers, the Brad Hands of the world, Familia and Corey Knebel. So I got to believe in them. I do. I know that Joe's like managing the lineup and trying to move and find, I don't know how you felt about that by having a different lineup, every day.
I think you take on the identity of the guys. You know, you kind of knew in 2010 with the San Francisco Giants it was going to be a grind to score 3 runs, and Boch was going to have to maneuver the lineup. And I think guys kind of bought into that. When I was with the Atlanta Braves, Bobby Cox ran out the same. I mean, you didn't even have to look. The dry erase board said the same thing every day, pretty much, except for a Sunday day game. So I like the Schwarber in the leadoff spot. I get the Gene Segura. Realmuto, for me, to lead him off, that's asking him to do an awful lot. But they're searching to get something going. They need a spark like the Yanks.
Real quick, I want to get your thoughts on an interesting fan promotion last night. Junk in the Trunk.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I know, right? This is at the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp game, and that's the point is to get the balls out of your back. That's the point.
And what do you win?